own. And I said, well, Steve, what do you call success? Now, it took several minutes for him to go down the list. But the interesting thing is, though they're not in the same order that I have put them, or we list them now, these are the 8 things that he said he really considered to be successful. If a man was happy and healthy and at least reasonably prosperous and secure, if he had friends and peace of mind and good family relationship and the hope that the future is going to be better, he said, I'd consider that man as successful. Now I'm going to really encourage you to take some notes right here. And all I want you to do, and you'll be the only one that'll see it, somewhere right as I go down the list, write whether you get a plus on that one or a minus on that one. You'll be the only one to see it.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited with Zig Ziglar International. I'm Edwin Britt. I've got David Keeler here with IHC Specialty Benefits, Senior Vice President. We are so glad you're here. Welcome to a wonderful alliance between 2 strong, integrity-based organizations, Zig Ziglar International and IHC Specialty Benefits. Today, we're going to really pour into you and provide you some real value on something that's extremely important, and it's on your mind, it's on the consumer's mind, it's on America's mind, right, David?
Absolutely.
And we phrase this with health insurance. Are you scared or are you prepared? I can tell you, and I know you guys know, and I know you know, the consumers are frustrated. They're disconnected. More so than ever, there's opportunity in what you do. Great value in what you do. And we're going to really work through that today. We're going to do that by giving you some fundamentals that Mr. Zig Ziglar has developed, time-tested and proven, more relevant today than ever before. And that is, the question I'm going to pose to you is, do you have a sales process? I'm sure that you feel like you do. A more important question, David, and we'll dive into this a little bit, is what does your process look like? Is it product-centered? That's important, but you're going to find not nearly as important as having a client-centered process. And is your process one that you're just utilizing your personality on? A lot of people have a personality process. The problem with having a personality process is it creates disconnect. Today, we're going to give you a specific client-centered process, the centerpiece of why people will buy from you today, tomorrow, and recommend others. See, today we've got to be able to educate the consumers. That process looks like trust. We're going to spell out the trust selling process for you, give you those steps. What that will do is it will create alignment. David, I know you know that selling is really about listening and being able to respond and uncover the needs. It's about listening and asking questions.
And it's a transference of feelings. And in today's world, particularly with Obamacare and ACA and some of the things we're going to lightly touch on today, it's also a transference of facts.
It certainly is. It's a transference of feelings, and it's based on the premise that selling is something you do with and for someone,
not to
someone. And so we've really got to have that mechanism in place that allows us to work through our relational sales. And let me give you an idea of what that looks like. And I'm going to give you first principle is that selling is a process, not an event. We'll go through these in detail later, but I also want you to recognize that you're going to make more money, you're going to help more people, you're going to have more fun, and it's important that we have some fun out there too, right? Yeah. Solving problems than you do selling products. In order to do that, you've got to be able to relate to people in a meaningful way. You've got to be able to uncover need, upset their status quo. And here's a wonderful question to be able to ask inside of that. What is it that you want to accomplish? So you've got the consumers out there. They're frustrated. They don't know what their options are. They need that relational sale. They need that relational salesperson that's going to align with them, just as we've aligned today, IHC and Zig Ziglar International, David.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the common things about doing this inaugural co-branding event that we're doing is that both of our organizations believe deeply in integrity-driven sales. So in the world that we live in today and all the things that people have to take into consideration, there's an old saying, you can't do a good deal with a bad person. So whether it's with our company's products or some other company's products or some other industry, we want to make sure that you share with them the trust selling process and how they can implement that into their daily lives so that they're in the same place in the sales process as the consumer that they're attempting to serve.
And I'll give you that right now. I'm going to encourage you, if you've got your laptop or something to make a note, I want to ask you to write this word down. But rather than writing it left to right, I want you to write it from top down. It starts with T, and that really is you. The thinking and the planning and the preparing. Mr. Ziegler was famous for saying, you were born to win. You were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success. Hey, endowed with the very seeds of greatness, but in order to be that winner you were born to be, you have to plan to win. You have to prepare to win. And then you can legitimately expect to win. So I want to make sure in your process that you're spending time planning and preparing in advance. That creates and relaxes you. You see, when you have a client-centered process, it reduces the pressure that you're feeling because you know exactly where you are in the process. It allows you to come along beside someone, David, and work with them in the process, because if you're relaxed, if the pressure's down for you, guess who else is going to be relaxed? The prospect, the potential client. So the T in trust stands for thinking, planning, and preparing. We then segue into the R in trust, which is to relate. Now, we all have mechanisms to relate to people, and if we're in someone's home, we observe certain things, but I'm going to give you a meaningfully specific process within the process in the relate, and it looks like this. POGO. The P is the person. Find out about that person. Let them know that you genuinely care about them. You're not there to sell a product to them. You're there to get to know them. And in the O of POGO, as you build through, it's the organization and or the family. So get to know the family. What are the dynamics of the family? How long have they lived there? What's important to them? Are they a self-employed small business owner? Or did they come from a corporate background and now they're having to navigate through this world? And the G that you ask in POGO under the relate stage is, what are your goals? In other words, what are you trying to accomplish? You should be asking that, David, don't you agree, in every presentation? Mr. or Miss Smith, what is it you're trying to accomplish? In other words, that makes it not about your agenda, but about their agenda. And then listen. And then the final key there in POGO is the obstacles. What's preventing you from accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish?
Correct.
When we're able to build that rapport, the U in trust is to uncover the need. You've got to do more listening here than you are doing talking. You see, you cannot recommend a product and I want you to think about it in terms of a solution until you truly understand what their needs are. So it's a need-based selling. When you can understand someone's needs and you're in the same place with them, several things must occur there. There's got to be a confirmation of those needs. So now you realize after uncovering this information that there is a need that exists. You need to confirm and validate that need with your prospect. Now there's alignment, and what should occur there is a light bulb moment. I want you to think about a light bulb illuminating a room. And what that means is now there's alignment. The client was very frustrated. They were uncertain. They didn't know. You've been able to draw out what's important to them as a family, both from their budget, both from their health care, the solutions that they're looking to craft. And that's what IHC has done so well, is they have built around the ACA plan all of these additional solutions, which I know we're going to get a chance to talk more about.
Correct.
After you uncover those needs in the U, the next letter, of course, is S, and that's the selling of the solution. But you cannot sell the solution until you understand the need. But it works like a dance. Two people are now aligned together. You're working in a collaborative manner towards this common goal. Now the resistance is down. Now the objections are down because they see you as a true asset to help them navigate through this extremely important period and decision that they're making. This decision they're making, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you know this, you're in the life-changing business. The solutions you provide could be the difference makers between someone being able to sustain and create their memories. I personally have sold with IHC and sold health insurance. I always focused on the individual. My solution was always crafted around what they wanted to accomplish, not just today. So see, it's not about what you want to accomplish. I've got to make this sale to get this paycheck. Build your business and build your relationships on helping other people accomplish. And that's what Mr. Ziegler was most famous for. And I know you got an opportunity to work directly with Mr. Ziegler, travel around the country. And what did he say, Dave? You can have everything in life you want.
If you'll just give everybody else and help everybody else get what they want.
That's right. And so that's in the S, is crafting your solution. It should come around by feature, function, benefit, and evidence. That's how you want to present your solution. And then ultimately, we got to take action. The T, the last T, is taking action. We cannot let people sit there and not make a decision. We've got to help them make the best decision for them. So you create this alignment in the sales process that looks like trust. Trust is the centerpiece. If someone trusts you, they'll buy from you, they'll stay with you, they'll recommend you. So we've given you some value today. We're going to go a lot deeper. You're going to have a survey at the end of this webcast that's going to give you an opportunity to get something from Zig Ziglar International today. That's Mr. Ziegler's Secrets of Closing the Sale. So when you complete the survey at the end of this webcast, you're going to have that opportunity. And Mr. Ziegler's book, Little Book of Big Quotes.
Which is it's a fantastic little book.
It sets your attitude. It's a great way to start your day, and that is so important. Your attitude, your planning, and your preparation. But I am so excited having worked with you, David, and been able to watch your career evolve, see the type of leader you are, get to know the leadership of IHC. It is a perfect alignment between IHC and Zig Ziglar International. And 35 years now in this industry, started door to door, belly to belly, right out in the field, right?
One app at a time.
One app at a time, working with people, and you've really seen a lot of change occur. You said something on a radio show earlier today about something about change. What was that wisdom?
Change is inevitable, growth is optional. So no matter what the environment might be at any given place or any time, your choice is to embrace it and try to find opportunities in it and excel with it, or retreat. And as individuals and individuals watching the webcast today and our organization as a whole, we choose to embrace the future, we choose to embrace the change, and we choose to embrace the opportunities that come from it.
Yeah, I may be thinking we're going to phrase this next question around this premise, but Mr. Ziegler said you can choose to react or respond. When you have a trust selling process, when you build off the 4 principles of selling, focused on solutions and focused on individuals, you're choosing to respond. I'm going to encourage you as we go through this content and hear from Mr. Keeler that you take a very responsive, a very proactive approach, that you're more motivated than ever. David, let me ask you the first question here today is, again, just really appreciate the long-term relationship you and I have enjoyed, your relationship with Mr. Ziegler. Our CEO, Michael Ray Newman's here today.
He's in the room.
He is. He's absolutely in the room. So we appreciate this wonderful opportunity to pour into all of you.
As do we. Thank you very much.
So much. So along with that, David, you know, the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, as a lot of people commonly refer to it, it's had a very definitive impact in our country since its introduction.
Correct.
On the radio show we did this morning, people calling in, it's a big political hot agenda item. So you're in the midst of opportunity, really. How has your organization chose to respond versus react to the realities of our country and the ever-changing environments that's been created around it?
Sure, let me touch on that. I'm going to back up a little bit before I go forward, is that, and as we talked about this morning, is that prior to the ACA or Obamacare being enacted, it was really a political discussion. You know, it was if you were the most liberal Democrat or the most conservative Republican, you were fighting for the benefits or the minuses of, you know, this ACA, and did it make sense? Did it make sense for the country? It was a real political battle. At the end of the day, the ACA, Obamacare, it was passed, it was enacted, it was challenged, it was upheld, and really, what happened after that, whether you sat, regardless of what side of the aisle you sat on, a political conversation, a political debate, to the fact that you could be the most successful conservative Republican, I could be the most successful small business liberal Democrat, the conversation turned to margin, right? The margin of our businesses, the margins of our families, because of the costs and all these things, a lot of things that have happened over the first 3, now 4 open enrollments. So our organization, prior to the enactment of the ACA, we chose to embrace whatever the future was going to be. Right. Not totally knowing what the future was going to be, we chose to embrace it. And so since that time, and as we've gone along the way, we are constantly looking for the opportunities with licensed advisors, other organizations, strategic alliances, whatever it might be, to find the opportunities, because with the ACA, regardless of who you are, it's a conversation. It has some type of impact on everybody. You might work for a large organization, have great group coverage. The question is, how does the ACA affect you and your family? Is still a valid one. So when we're in open enrollment periods or we're outside of government open enrollment periods, the valid question is always, how does the ACA, the Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, how does that affect you and your family? And that has been, for lack of a better word, just thinking off the top here, the ACA has been wonderful advertising for our industry.
Yes. And really, based on everything you just said, all the more reason that you have a client-centered process that looks like trust. Because when people are frustrated, they need an advisor they can trust that's going to have a consultative approach, correct?
Correct.
And I know that's your culture. It's what you train and teach to as well. So not only are you bringing the solutions to the marketplace that can help enhance and allow people to reach their goals, you're also building a culture with your advisors in every capacity that is client-centered, that's trust-based, the total alignment. You truly are responding in this opportunity environment.
We are responding, but we're also learning at the same time.
And so over the years, I've heard you use the phrase many times that a prescription without proper diagnosis
is malpractice in any profession.
Yeah, speak to that a little bit. Talk to me about what that means to you and to your organization.
Yeah, and going back over the course of time in the industry, and there's, I'm sure, many folks that are on this webcast today that have lots of experience in the industry, and they would attest to there's been nothing constant in our industry over the years except change, right?
Right.
And so, and you've said it before, selling is something you do for someone, not to someone. So particularly in today's world with the ACA changing every day, it's in the news every day, we're trying to get a better understanding of it as individuals, as companies every single day. Personal perspective, maybe a professional position would be, you have to do the right thing. And I read a book once from Andy Stanley called The Best Question Ever. Great book, came down to one sentence. What's the wise thing to do?
That's right. I remind my children about that pretty often. I have to remind myself.
And that applies to everything, right? It's not, we're not just ACA or helping small business owners. What is the wise thing to do? So as we've gotten into the current environment and even the previous environments over the last 2, 3, 4 years, it comes down to the fact that you have to sit down and you have to diagnose for that individual, that family, whatever the situation may be. Edwin, tell me about you, Renee, and the girls. What's going on? How's the ACA affecting you? And create that and craft that solution that's specific to you. So I want to make it very clear to the people that are watching here. We believe firmly that if an ACA plan with a subsidy or not a subsidy is the right thing to do for somebody, that's absolutely what we should do. That's absolutely how we should serve that consumer. If we have the opportunity to put some of our ancillary and supplemental products and programs with those, which we have many, we will absolutely be happy to do that. If somebody's not getting a subsidy through the ACA or their doctors are not in the network, what are all these reality things that we could spend days and days talking about? People sometimes are now looking for solutions outside of the ACA. And so if I share those with you and whatever they may be, I need to be diligent and I need to share with you what's the other side of dealing with products and programs that are outside of the compliant ACA product design. So it comes down to, and to me, and maybe I'm too utopian in this, but for me, it comes down to what's the wise thing to do. And so if you sit down with a client, and not so long ago, you had 2 or 3 really popular products, no matter what they were, and you would share those, and it came down to the person you're sitting with, you and Renee and the girls just got a rate increase. It gave me an opportunity to sit down and talk to you. I can give you similar benefits at a better price. Press here, press hard, the bottom copy's mine, right? And so those days have kind of gone because you can't take the products, whatever they are, ACA products or products outside of ACA, and say that they're right and perfect for every single person. So to your point that you made a minute ago, today it is more relational selling than it's ever been. It's more relational and it's more important that we connect and that we have a real bond, lots of listening, right? Lots of listening, and then let the wisdom come out and then present the 2 or 3 options that may be best for you and your family.
And you said something there, a lot of that, obviously very, very important. The way we communicate today, we're living in technology as our phones and our computers, and a lot of people are looking to try to solve this problem, if you would, the consumers, via their computer. And certainly there's value in that. In fact, consumers are more informed today, and really my challenge would be is they need to become even more informed in their healthcare choices, because wouldn't it be fair to say that they've sort of 10, 15, 20 years ago, we kind of took that for granted.
Yeah.
It kind of came from other sources and we just got it and it was sort of an expected thing. Today we've got to be more informed. I just wanted to emphasize to those that are out there listening, the trust selling process, you can utilize that process whether you're speaking on the phone to someone. The ideal is to be able to go face to face, eyeball to eyeball, but the trust selling process works in every arena, every form of communication, and the principles. And as we're going to list some of those principles, so really, really wise.
And let me add this: is I've known you a long time as a personal friend and as
Sure.
a business associate, and I've got a pretty good feel for what you and I are not good at, right?
Sure.
So this would be like you and I reading the IRS tax code,
Right.
and then walking out of here and trying to give people advice on what's the right thing for their particular
Right.
situation. So when it comes down to the current world, and this is one of the things that we see, quite frankly, with advisors, licensed, trusted advisors, agents, brokers across our company and other great companies, is that it's hard for them they have to be better skilled and crafted than ever before, because everything's changing so rapidly and so quickly. And the good news with the internet and the technology is that you can get the information out there, and then you have to disseminate what's valid and what's real and what are the facts. But it really just comes down to the fact that you have to really zero in on making sure that you're providing that exact specific solution. And it doesn't stop there. That's where it begins, because it could be 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the road. You're going to have another conversation with your client, perhaps our insured or somebody else's insured, and you're going to say, hey, it's time to check in. It's time to talk about what do we need to do for the next season.
And you keep using the word conversation. When we talk about sales process, what we're really talking about is allowing you to have a more effective, a more efficient conversation. The more conversations you have, and as we all know, conversation requires talking, but it really requires listening. And I think a lot of salespeople do too much talking and not enough listening. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree.
So for is it fair to say that the new healthcare access plan, CAP, all right, that we're briefly discussing today, which is indeed a fixed benefit indemnity product, is a result of your organization's finding the opportunity through adversity in this changing environment that we've been discussing? Is that an example that you might want to speak about?
I'll say yes and no. Okay.
All right.
and I'll also want to add this before it forgets and leaves my mind, is that one of the great things about the IHC specialty benefits and the IHC group products and programs is they're available year-round. So they're available inside, outside open enrollment.
That's important, right?
And yes, regardless of whether it's a durational short-term medical product that we currently have, or whether it's our fixed indemnity plans, critical illness, we are not confined with our products and portfolio to just a certain window of open enrollment or enrollment period times. Now, when it comes to the ACA plans of external carriers that we represent, we follow the rules just like everybody else does. With the CAP plan, that actually just got introduced, I believe I have this correctly, this Tuesday morning of this week, in 35 states, and we're seeing just dramatic acceptance of this plan already in just a few days. That's our newest program, but it's also the third generation of the program. So it's not like we had a crystal ball and said, hey, there's going to be a real need for this because of all these things that are going to happen in the ACA world, good, bad, or indifferent. We're going to need a product that we can provide people that's outside of the open enrollment or inside of it or a special enrollment period. We actually had a flavor and a taste for fixed indemnity products dating way back, but certainly with the IHC company and IPA family organization, the Healthy Deals family organization, going back to 2008. And we found a real need for that product, not as a product, and I'll just tell you right up now, it's a great product. Is it a product for every single person we meet? Absolutely not. But it's a great product. But we saw that need back in about 2008, and we have great product development people out in Phoenix, and they put the products together, and you got to get them priced, and you got to get them filed, and it's a lot of heavy lifting to get a product to market. But we were wise enough to do it back then because we had other things that we wanted to focus on with those products in the marketplaces we serve. So with small business owners and self-employed individuals, even before the enactment of the ACA and Obamacare, traditional major medical, compliant major medical programs, wonderful products, wonderful programs, but one thing they all had in common is that at the end of the 12 months, you were typically going to get a letter in the mail, or you're going to get a note, and you're going to get a little rate increase.
Right.
And a rate increase in any industry, in the insurance business, typically is an invitation or a lead for another company, right?
Sure.
So we had the fixed indemnity products because we saw for our licensed advisors, as well as small business owners and consumers in the marketplace that needed stable rates. They needed a product they could put in place and understand and know that there wasn't going to be a lot of volatility in their rates at renewal time and these kinds of things. We came out with a fixed indemnity product. This is our actually third generation or third version of our original product. And we just found it to be a wonderful product for people to either use as a supplemental plan or a primary plan. So we did all of that work way back in time. There's a lot of gifted people on our team at the IHC group. Get a lot of credit for that. It was very wise. It was a wise thing to do. So now that we're going through all the things that we're going through as a country, and I always say this, even with our internal career sales force, is that you have to remember that these things that kind of get into your world on a daily basis, it's your country and how your company is responding to the country. It's not the company. So I think we're very blessed that we did that back in 08, 09, and then finally got it to market in 2010. Our first version is that we're here today with a great product. We're not going to get into a lot of detail on it today with our Care Access plan, but it's available in 35 states and it's a permanent product. So if you enroll in that product as a supplemental product or as a permanent product, inside or outside the upcoming open enrollment here in a couple of days, it's a product that you can buy and that you can maintain and that you can keep no matter what. Even if you bought the Care Access plan today, and a year from now you need to do something in open enrollment, the ACA open enrollment, you don't have to get rid of this new plan. So we're very excited about it. Had a little bit of luck along the way too, to be honest with you. And so I think that we have a product and a program that is really going to take off in the marketplace. It's the one we're kind of highlighting today. But again, as I said earlier, all of the IHC underwritten products or sponsored products and filed and approved products, all the appropriate verbiage, they can be bought year-round and enrolled in year-round.
So having your advisors that are out on the webcast today really embrace these solutions as something that you've got to be able to have in your portfolio so that when you've truly spent the time of uncovering that need and helping people navigate, because we do recognize that people have various budgets and there are some limits people just can't accomplish, right? They can't reach that number. It would take them too far out of balance in their overall goals about their family, their small businesses, which is the backbone of America. And what I admire so much about the advisors that represent the IHC Specialty Benefits product line, solution line, if you will, is that they are out there helping the individuals that really made this country great. And there is pain, there is frustration, so we can build that solution in a client-centered process, and that's just another example of another solution that if it fits for them, it needs to be recommended with integrity, correct?
Correct, absolutely.
You have to recognize what it is and what it isn't.
That's
and
absolutely.
the time to know that is at the time you're investing in that for your family, not after a big claim has come in, correct?
Right, and this is something that Zig, I embedded in me for years when we were together, first as a customer and then I worked with him for a number of years as an employee, is that if you have nothing to fear, you have nothing to hide. So when you're out there and you're serving the marketplaces that we're in today, it could be totally different here in Dallas, Texas than it is in Tampa, Florida, right?
Sure.
And so if you go in with the real mindset and the real servant's heart, if you will, of providing that proper diagnosis with that family and determining what is the best product and solution for them, and if it's an ACA program and that's appropriate, absolutely that's the right direction to go. Now some people would say, and there's some truth to it, well, there's no compensation in that. Why would I do that? The networks are too skinny. Why would I do that? Well, that's all factual. But at the end of the day, if the ACA plan is the right thing for that particular consumer, serve them well. If there's other things that you can make available to them, make them available to complement that product, that out-of-pocket, that exposure, whatever it may be, and ask for referrals. Sure. When you treat somebody and do something, you don't want to do something to somebody that you wouldn't want done to you.
Sounds like the golden rule.
It's very similar to the golden rule, right? So I think that when people keep that in mind and they craft those solutions, whatever they specifically come down to, it provides and yields some really, really wonderful things. And brand management and reputation management in today's world is, in my view, is absolutely paramount. And so if you go in and try to take a product and a program, I don't care what kind it is, and I'm going to try to make it right for you and Renee and the girls because it rewards me, but it doesn't serve you well, that's a short-lived proposition ultimately, in my view.
And some people have said, I've said it about you, they used to say it about Mr. Ziegler, is that, you're a natural born salesman. You could sell anything to anybody. But that actually always sort of offended Mr. Ziegler, because what he saw or heard, although he was very gracious, is you don't know, right? Because you can't sell anything to anybody if you're an integrity-based representative of that. You've got to do what's right.
Right, and sometimes the best sale can be no sale.
Absolutely.
Hey, stay exactly where you're at. What your solution you have. I know it's expensive. I know it's causing you pain. Here's some things that you might be able to do to adjust get your costs down a little bit. Some of those kind of consultative things. But at the end of the day, a no sale might be the right sale.
Well, segue just a little bit, Dave, is drawing on your 35 years of experience, senior vice president with the organization. You've spoken about your teammates, which you're very humble in doing, is drawing on that. If there's consumers that are out there today that are considering what their options are, speak a little bit about maybe some of the top highlights that you've recognized from the CAP plan and maybe some of the choices they might have. What do you feel like?
Yeah, and I'm going to warn our audience right up front that I have my little iPad cheat sheet here, because
refer to that? Okay.
I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Sure,
so I'm going to grab that, but not just read it verbatim, but share with it. But I think with our CAP plan, I think one of the things that people in our other products and programs as well is that they're dealing with a A- excellent rated company by AM Best.
And what does that mean to them, Dave?
Financial security with the organization they're doing business with. I mean, there's great organizations out there and there's great companies out there, but it would be my personal recommendation that you deal with companies that are highly rated in a highly regulated industry. Right. Paramount. We've talked about this. You can apply and enroll in the GAP plan year-round. There are no calendar year or lifetime maximums. Okay, so I think that's a very important piece of what this particular plan offers. There are 3 base plans. There's our economy plan, our value plan, our superior plan. So they have options and choices. Deductibles that range depending on which plan you choose, anywhere from 0 deductible, no deductible, up to $7,500 in deductible, depending upon what your needs are and your budgetary needs are. And what that does is it provides flexibility in how you can construct and build that program and that solution for that individual and family if it's the right one to do. So when I sit down with you and I say, hey, what's the right budget? What's the budget guidelines we're looking for you and the girls? And what are your benefit requirements? It just helps guide me into what's the right and correct solution for you. Go ahead, please.
One comment to that is, for those of you working inside and looking and saying, maybe I need to re-look at my sales process. You spend this time uncovering the need, and that's what David is. He keeps saying, you hear the word need, but what he's really talking about now, or what some of the benefits are based on the selection that they've made. But I see this as a common mistake, Dave, is that advisors, even professional ones, they get so product-centered. When you uncover that need, here's what you've got to do. You've got to lead back with that need. Start with the need, and then support the solution based on these types of facts.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes you get it in reverse order. So you uncover that need, you want to lead with the need, and then you want to speak to the things that Dave's talking about here in the term of feature, function, benefit. What does it mean to you? Evidence. Feature is what it is. Function is what it does for them. The benefit, talk about it in terms of benefit, what that means to you, and here's the evidence to support that.
Right. Absolutely. And just to continue on a little bit, the daily benefit amounts based upon the plan you choose are based for each individual illness and accident. So it's not a one and done kind of program, which is good. The base plan obviously has in-hospital benefits, outpatient surgery, inpatient surgery as well, your surgeon, your assistant surgeon, all these common things, ambulance, ground and air ambulance and different things. And it also has critical illness built into the product with the ability, so for the primary and spouse, so you and Renee, you have $10,000 of critical illness coverage in your base plan and $2,500 on each of the girls. Now you can take that and you can buy that critical illness up so that you and Renee each have $40,000 in total critical illness benefit, and the girls could each get $10,000 as maximum benefit if you felt like that was the right thing for you and your family.
So your organization has created some tiers inside of this umbrella opportunity, if you would, based on budget, and it's just important that the consumer knows, what goes inside of each filter or bucket. Is that correct?
That's correct. And God forbid, health insurance, it's one of those things that you have to have, you need to have, and you don't really want to use, right? But if it's there, you want to make sure that you're going to be taken care of in your claim or whatever the situation may be. So a great example on this critical illness benefit is if you have a qualifying critical illness event, say you as an individual, and you're traveling around and you're eating a lot of fast food, and your left arm starts hurting a little bit, and
hey, don't put that on me, man.
You have a little critical illness event,
sure,
and it qualifies on the coverage, then you're going to have some dollars there to help you for the deductible you may choose or some out-of-pocket expenses that you may have that aren't covered benefits under the plan.
Okay.
There are optional coverages that are made available for wellness, so you can get your wellness and preventive physician office.
Important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wellness is very important. That's a proactive step.
Absolutely, and in emergency room and urgent care facilities. And the reason is people say, well, why isn't that in the base plan? Well, it's one of those areas where, if you don't need it or you don't want it for one reason or another, we don't want to just make people automatically buy it, right?
Okay.
And so we also have some benefits for diagnostic testing and those types of things for radiology and those kinds of different things. So you have some great optional benefits in terms of the base plans. And the other final two that I'll mention today is that you can choose any doctor, any hospital in America that you want to go to, and this plan is going to work for you in that manner. If you happen to go to a network provider called MultiPlan, which is connected to the program, you're not obligated to do that. Or if you happen to be in rural Montana, Brad Fraser, Wyoming, and there may not be a lot of providers there. The great news about this plan is it's still going to pay the benefits exactly the way they are. So there's no network requirement, but if you happen to go into a network provider, you could get a great discount or some kind of discount that will bring the total bill down, and then the claim would be adjudicated just the same as it normally would. And then the final one that I would offer there, which is a big one, is it's guaranteed renewable. So you and Renee and the girls could never be singled out for a rate increase or cancellation just because of your a health event that may have happened during the course of the year. Very stable coverage, very stable rates, and you know what you're working with.
So a very responsive, proactive approach that IHC Specialty Benefits has created for the advisors out there that gives them some additional resources inside of a client-centered process that can meet and serve people's needs where they are, based on the principle and foundation of integrity first.
Yeah, and again, I want to stress that if the CAP plan was a really good fit for somebody in the marketplace, or one of our advisors, as licensed advisor, says, man, I really understand that product now and I really am going to embrace that product, again, you can provide this product, create the design of it that's based upon what the client needs, fit it around their budget, and then if there's room to add some of the other things that we have to offer, our dental plans and
that's important.
Yeah, more robust critical illness coverage. We have some association programs that we sell, different things like that. Then you're really life insurance with living benefits, which is not a part of our company, but that we have access to. You can complement this CAP program, this fixed indemnity program, and really make it even more robust. I meant to say this earlier, and I want to say that while I have the opportunity, is that fixed indemnity products after and before ACA were never comprehensive major medical products, okay? Right. So they shouldn't be confused as comprehensive major medical products, and we are very, very diligent about the compliance. We have some great training, so through the survey, if people want more product training, we have Sandra Bradley is a resource that can be wonderful. John Carlson, one of the best sales trainers for this program, this type of program, and how to position it with the customer, make sure it's right with them, is Mr. Mark Hunt, a gentleman that I believe is very engaged in this program today, Jeff McCabe, and all the people that he serves. There are resources way beyond what you and I are talking about today to make these programs come to life more for both the licensed advisors as well as the consumers they represent. And
that maybe to some degree speaks to what was going to be the final question today. So I certainly can see the value that's been built around these. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a licensed advisor who already represents your products, or perhaps a licensed advisor out there who might want to be considered to sell your products, what would really get them excited about the opportunity to represent this product from your chair? Last question I have for you today. Hopefully everything we just talked about. Okay, that would be first and foremost. Hope, the foundational quality of all change. There it is. Okay. But no, I think the big one, one of the big ones, is that it's a non-durational product. Okay, so it's a permanent product. The CAP plan is a product that you apply for, simplified underwriting, you get it issued, you place it. As long as you keep your premiums in force and you don't lapse your coverage, that protection coverage is permanent. I'll digress a little bit from the radio program we talked about this morning, is that
it doesn't matter who the carrier is. And when you get into the ACA coverages, back in the good old days before ACA, you bought a major medical program, you placed it, and you hope to keep it in force. And whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, you weren't necessarily jumping around year after year. Well, with ACA plans, whether you need them, if you need them, you need them. There's no doubt about it. But the fact is that it's become a durational product, in my view, because at the end of any given calendar year, as you move towards the next open enrollment, what's changed? Has the network changed? Have they decided to pull out of your particular community?
And that's happened a lot, right?
Yeah, Wilmington. Are we still going to be in Wilmington, North Carolina?
Right.
And those sort of things. So ACA plans, just in general, without it's not a disparagement. They've become a durational product. So again, it does help the licensed advisors out there create that relational environment with their consumer, the client, and our insured, if you will, to make sure that conversation's always going. So I think, again, having a product like the CAP plan that's non-durational, you create the right solution, you put it in force, you keep it in force, and then you continue to visit with the clients about what needs to happen next year, if anything. But a very good product and program for licensed advisors to represent that they know they can place, and it's going to stay in force, and it's going to provide them that coverage that they need.
Well, I can sense your passion for your organization that you represent and all of your teammates. I've known that personally. I've seen that professionally as well. So for those of you who are perhaps not part of the IHC family from a representative standpoint, you want to attach to a strong culture, a winning culture, but one who really endeavors to do things the right way. What a great opportunity. And as we build and continue to reinforce that alliance between IHC and Zig Ziglar International, two great organizations that share those same principles. I want to leave you today with 4 selling principles.
Let me add 2 things.
Go for it.
Yeah,
jump right in there. I'm sorry.
No, not a problem. I just want to add 2 things. It has a very, very competitive first year and renewal commission on this new CAP plan.
Right.
So I think that's important for
So
people.
money's important, right?
It does help.
Slightly less than oxygen, but pretty important.
Yeah, timid salespeople have skinny kids, right?
Kids,
so,
that's right.
And this product has very, very high persistency. It's got a high issue rate. It's simplified underwriting. It's got a high persistency rate. So from a compensation standpoint, when it's the right thing for your client, it's a very rewarding win-win-win for the insured, the client, the company, and the advisor.
And so when you build all that in that integrity-based foundation, as we've talked about, and you have a client-centered process. So fundamental number 1, if you want to make a note of this, is that selling is a process, not an event. What does your process look like at Zig Ziglar International? It looks like trust. At IHC, it looks like trust. Implement that. It will really benefit you and will enable you to help more people. Principle number 2, you make more money, you help more people, you have more fun, you feel less stressed, you're probably healthier by solving problems than you do selling products. Thus, you need a client-centered process that will yield uncovered need so that you can align with and partner with them. The third one that I haven't mentioned yet, and it's probably my favorite, David, I know myself and several of our team members travel around the country sharing this with corporations and individuals every week, and it's a great pleasure, is that people don't make decisions based on your reasons. They make decisions based on their reasons. So oftentimes professional salespeople or people in sales, they're constantly giving reasons for why you should do something. But see, you're reversing the order. People make decisions based on their reasons. Their reasons are driven by their feelings, their motives, and their beliefs. Again, that's why you got to have a client-centered process so you can uncover their reasons, what they want to accomplish. Then you focus on the solutions that align and meet that need, and you'll have a client forever, and you'll get a lot of referrals, and you get a lot of less objections and a lot of disconnect. I was just working with some of your folks actually down in Tampa, Florida,
Yep.
and one of the representatives said, what happens when they don't, they say, call me back between 1 and 3 on Thursday, and when I call back, they don't answer, and we've all had that they feel this disconnect. And what I said to this gentleman, and he was an integrity-based individual, I said, I don't believe that you've established the value of your services, truly established value. When you upset status quo and establish the value of what you're providing, people will make time for you, right?
Absolutely.
We've got to be able to do that. And the fourth reason is that nobody buys your products or services. So why would you want to have a product-centered process? Nobody buys your products or services. Nobody. They buy what their products and what your products and services will do for them. You know, I never sold a health insurance policy, and I sold thousands. Nobody on my team ever sold a health insurance policy. I sold peace of mind. I sold accessibility. I sold affordability, portability. I sold information. Well, see, he or she who has the most information has the most influence, Dave. Would you agree?
I totally agree. Totally agree.
So that's what I want to leave you with today, is these 4 selling principles, and also remind you that you're going to get a survey at the end of this. We value your input. We want it. It will be directed about some things about IHC. There'll be some things about ZZI and how we can engage and help you further on both of our partnerships. We very much want to do that. We're about helping people get better, but we also want to provide you a wonderful gift. Zig Ziglar's Secrets of Closing Sales. It will be transforming in nature, and what you're going to find is not only will it make you a better sales professional, help more people, it will make you a better person, a better father, a better mother, a better dad, better member of the community, because you got to build, see, we believe at Zig Ziglar International, you build a better person, and the person builds a better business.
Correct.
That's IHC's philosophy as well, correct?
Absolutely correct. And if I may, I'd be remiss while we have this audience, I know we had hundreds and hundreds of people register for this webcast, is that IHC is very, very bullish on distribution partners, business development ideas, joint ventures, different things. So don't be shy. If you know of individuals or things that might benefit them as well as our organization in conjunction with or without ZZI, we would be very, very interested in hearing about it. We have great leadership in Mark Hunt, Brad Waldrop, Jeff McCabe, Sandra Bradley, Javier Tejada, and our Espera Mas Hispanic initiative. So we are very, very growth oriented. We'll be getting into the pet insurance environment in 2017.
Watch out.
Yeah,
okay,
so we've got a lot of great things going on, led by a good friend of mine, Rick Fouché. So we are really, really excited about what's going on right now, and more importantly, what's going on in the future. So whether it's somebody that's currently with the IHC organizations or somebody that might want to be involved with the IHC organizations, let us know what's on your mind. Let us know how we can help you, just like you would at Ziglar, and we would love to have that conversation with you, inside or outside of the open enrollment period.
Fantastic, Dave. What a great pleasure to be with you today.
You as well.
With you as well. We're very excited about 2017 at Zig Ziglar International as well. We're going to be coming to a city near you with a great day of motivation, of growth, of goals program, continuing to build on our alliance with IHC and our partnership. So you guys go out and make it a better than good day. Thank you so much. And fill out that survey. We want to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you.